My name is Steve Hidden. I've been with Miller for about 17 years. I've been in the training solutions area and the business development manager in this area for about a year and a half now. I brought Bill Becker with me. Bill Becker in the back room with the Miller shirt on. He's our lead engineer. He's a smart guy in the room when it comes to motion tracking technology. I shouldn't say that because Bill Fulcor is in here as well. But this was interesting because we at Miller are developing training devices around similar technology that the previous presentation Bill was talking about as well. So I've never been in a situation where I prepared a presentation and knew that somebody was going to talk a half hour before me about the same thing. So I was in the back of the room changing my, my presentation at the last minute here, so hopefully this will go smoothly. But I want to spend some time talking about what Miller's doing in the training space and the technology that we're utilizing as well, and we are using motion tracking technology. Same technology or similar technology as real well systems, but I want to spend a little bit more time talking about what that is. And then we actually, in the room here, I don't know if everybody has seen it yet, but our table is set up with a motion tracking camera, and Bill will be showing that how that works actually, just to kind of give everybody an idea of what that technology is. Virtual reality's been in the market for a while. I think most people have seen it, played with it, understand it, but motion tracking, at least in welding training, is relatively new. So I wanted to spend some time talking about it in general terms. I developed this slide and I thought, I'm going to talk about all the reasons that we're here. I'm going to give you guys all the shortage of welders, but everybody knows that, right? So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time here because I think we all know that there's a shortage of welders, that there's an industry issue here. We all know that there's increased sense of urgency in this space, that there's the federal and state governments are all on board, workforce development. There's just a lot of movement in that area. So what are we going to do about it, I guess, from a Miller standpoint? So we've searched and looked at what was out there already, and we came up with, from our surveying and talking to customers, that motion tracking was the way that we were going to look at ways to introduce product in this marketplace. So you probably have witnessed or at least seen the evidence of motion tracking in other areas. And I'm just going to kind of go through a little bit of what it is, again, generically. If anybody has a major question, I'll probably ask Bill to give you the, what's actually all about motion tracking. But basically what it is, it's capturing movement via camera, and the camera typically is looking for markers. Either they're passive or they're active markers. And in this case, you see a body or a human being here with some markers on it, and a camera then will pick those movements up, and the software then turns that into actual data that you can see the movement and understand it and work with it. There's a lot of different applications. We're kind of at the tail end of this technology. The entertainment, sports, medical, safety, military, there's a lot of different areas that it's very popular, especially in the entertainment. Spider-Man, for instance, you look at a lot of the animation, a lot of that was done with marking people and actual motions and turning that then into animation, which is kind of cool. Also sports, I'm a big sports guy. Can make your golf swing better. You can see people and the way their technique, and you can actually track that technique to say, is it a good technique, bad technique, what are you doing right, what are you doing wrong? Same thing that we're going to be doing now in training. Also from a safety standpoint, ergonomics. A lot of manufacturers are using it for their people out on the floor that are moving and picking things up. Is that motion, understanding that motion, understanding can it be done more efficiently, more safe, if you will. And then, of course, probably everybody in this room has experienced it from a gaming standpoint, video gaming. I haven't used the Xbox 360 with the camera bar, but again, motion, where you can actually play a game and your motion turns up in the actual game itself, which is pretty cool technology. So how can we, as looking at this, we thought, hey, we're kind of the last of the game here. How can we use this in actual training? How can we help people train in welding technique? So Bill's been kind of looking at this for about the last 2 to 3 years, and this is kind of what we've come up with. It's called the Live Arc. Actually, live welding and motion tracking. It's a very intuitive process. It's reality-based. as opposed to virtual reality, which is just a different way of training. So we're offering a different method. We think it's much more cost effective and better and faster than a lot of the traditional methods that are out there today. We're giving feedback. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on how we're doing or what we're doing, because Real Weld Systems builds a nice job on telling you what they're measuring. We're measuring the same things: travel speed, travel angle, work angle, contact tip to work distance, and aim. And then we're providing feedback on how well a student does with those 5 parameters. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. This technology is creating really a welding lab assistant, and that's what Bill talked about as well. It's providing you guys that are instructors with an assistant, basically, that you can put struggling students on. You can put it into the curriculum where the students are now getting the feedback that you would provide them in a real welding application or an assignment or a lab assignment. Now they're getting it from an electronic-based piece of equipment. So you can focus on other areas, be more efficient with your time in the classroom. What's nice about this is the ability to configure. We'll talk a little bit about some of the assignments that we have in our system, but as an instructor, we give you the ability to take our baseline assignments, create your own assignments from that, modify them, and again, take a WPS or a lab assignment and actually dump that into our system. I'll show you how easy that is. And as well, it's a performance history mechanism. Anytime a student uses our system, the data, their score, all of their performance is logged into that piece of equipment. And over time, that is a history of that student's performance. So you as an instructor can see that, and the student can look at this performance over time as well. And eventually, we'll be going Wi-Fi, and that all that information will be up on the cloud. You can have somebody that's at a John Deere plant in Illinois. He can fly out to China, use the system, pull all his information down, and continue his learning experience in a different country. That's coming. So what I'd like to do is just kind of show you a brief, it's actually not that brief, it's almost 4 minutes long, but it does a better job of talking about the product than I can do. So I'm just going to let this thing run just to kind of give you an idea of our system and what it's capable of doing. So hopefully this will translate well.
In today's world of welding, your business is seeking highly trained, skilled, experienced weld operators. Yet there are few ways to recruit, screen, and train students and operators that deliver the impact you need. Introducing the LiveArc Welding Performance Management System, a revolutionary, reality-based training solution from Miller that offers exactly what you're looking for. Once you know what this system can do for you, you'll understand why, with LiveArc, we build careers. LiveArc is an advanced weld trainer that combines the benefits of a simulator with the advantages of LiveArc welding in a single, easy-to-use system. Personal instruction is essential, but have you ever wished that your trainees could receive immediate, objective feedback even when you're not available? The Miller LiveArc system does just that. At the heart of LiveArc is our industry-exclusive 400-amp MIG Smart Gun, compatible with all Miller power sources. It features embedded LEDs that work with a motion tracking camera to monitor the gun's movements in 3 dimensions and deliver immediate feedback based on parameters that are essential to a good weld, including work angle, travel angle, contact tip to work distance, travel speed, and aim. Simulation mode lets the weld operator practice keeping the gun within preset or custom-defined parameters, while the operator's progress is instantly shown on the large touchscreen display. Immediate feedback lets the user make adjustments and quickly learn how to properly hold and move the gun for an unlimited variety of welding assignments, including out-of-position and overhead welding applications, without the restrictions of a fixed coupon position required by other training systems. Perfect for beginners, simulation mode saves money on coupons, gas, and wire. And when they're ready, true arc welding is just a button press away. It's an experience that virtual reality machines just can't match. In either mode, calibrating the LiveArc system is fast, easy, and accurate. Operators can select Miller-developed assignments or those designed by their instructors. with acceptable weld parameters clearly defined. The operator's progress throughout the assignment is easily visible. Haptic technology produces a distinct vibration in the gun when a selected torch technique parameter is out of range, essential during live welding, when brightness and noise compete for a weld operator's attention. An overall score for the assignment is assigned, and operators can see how deviations from acceptable parameters affect the weld. So can instructors. Individual weld operator progress can be easily stored and recalled to show improvement over time. And with immediate feedback, improvement can happen much more quickly, helping students learn better weld skills faster, helping employers screen and recruit job candidates, helping new hires become more productive more quickly, and helping evaluate and refine the abilities of even the most experienced welders. If you're looking to build a better workforce, your answer is the Miller LiveArc system. Together, we build skills. Together, we build experience. With LiveArc, we build careers.
So it does a lot better job than I could ever do explaining the product. And if you do want autographs later, Bill Becker was featured in this film, so he will be sending autographs at the table at lunchtime. So actually, if I have time, I'll show you another video that really features our smart gun, which is a unique part of our product as well, something that is a Miller technology. So I wanted to just spend just a second just kind of going over some of the components of our overall system so you get a little bit better idea how it works. And again, if there's any questions, obviously we've got people that can answer those questions either now or at our booth at lunchtime. But this is our complete system, very industrially built system, built to Miller standards. The motion tracking camera up at the top is basically a 3-camera bar. This camera then is looking for, again, markers on the system or on clamps on the gun, that sort of thing, and that's where the camera and the software know where things are all the time, obviously. So we also then have our smart gun, as we call it, and here's these active LEDs. These actually are active, and they actually are they're bright. They're not really bright to sight, but you can actually, if you look at them really close, you can see they actually lighten up so the camera can actually see them. And it took a long time for our engineering team. Bill can talk to you for all day about how long it took us to find the right LEDs, the right markers. It's just not like you go and you look at a catalog and you pull one off, you say it's going to work. A lot of testing went into the right brightness, the right LED, the right curvature. All of those things went into it. And again, Bill will talk to you all day about that because it was a long process, but we've got it right on this particular gun for sure. And you can also see, we'll talk a little bit more about it later, but the face of the gun here is where you get that feedback, that initial feedback when you're actually going to be practicing a weld or you're actually going to be welding. It gives you that pre-set up feedback, which any instructor is going to give a beginning student this is how I want you to hold that gun. I want you to be consistent throughout that weldment. And that gives you the ability to see where you need to hold that gun to begin with. We also have, as you saw, we call our calibration tool. This also has some markers in it. Actually has 3 markers. It's pretty unique. It took us a while to figure that out as well. And again, Bill can talk to you a long time about it. And there's some movement in this calibration tool. These 2 move. There's specific distances between those as well. And when you do calibrate and the camera sees the movement, it calculates a straight line between all 3 of those balls, and it actually will tell the system exactly where that joint is. It's done twice, as you can see in the video. And so now, once you do that, the system knows exactly where that joint is. So then, of course, it knows where the gun is, knows where the joint is, and it can give you that exact feedback on how well you did to those parameters right into that joint. The table, it's a 1-year warranty on our system, which is very similar to most people in the industry. As Bill mentioned, his system will hook to any welding piece of equipment. Ours is Millerized, but it will hook to any piece of equipment as well. If you want to put it on a red piece, a yellow piece, it's really about the training. We want to make sure that it works on everybody's because we want to create that training experience. Would I rather see it on a blue machine? Sure. But, you know, it does work on other equipment. As we mentioned, or as the video mentioned, these are the parameters that we're measuring. And, you know, we're trying to use some basic symbols that are, you know, accepted throughout the industry. But as you probably all well know, when it comes to industry standards, there's a lot of variation. So we use Nick Peterson, who many of you guys know. He's very active in AWS and Welded and a bunch of others. So he's behind a lot of our visuals, and a lot of what went into this machine, it was created by Nick. So we're measuring these things here, and we actually then get the feedback on a screen that's very intuitive. We spent a lot of time, probably more time than management wanted us to, in regards to intuitiveness of the machine. We had groups of kids come in that were in welding programs but had never MIG welded before, and we would set them in front of the machine in its current phase, whatever, or current, you know, the software package that we were working on at that point in time. Many of the software guys thought it was very intuitive, but we got a group of, you know, 10, 12 students in front of the thing, and we found out really quickly that they had no idea how to go from one screen to the next. You know, and you can sit and you can say, well, all you got to do is push that button, but it's not intuitive to them. It's intuitive to us because we're real close to the project, right? So we made some changes, brought another set in. We did that 3 different times actually to create a very intuitive software package. So I wish I had one here that you could actually use, but it is extremely intuitive. And again, we spent a lot of time, a lot of effort into that. We also are utilizing a standard WPS format for our assignments. We have 11 assignments built into our system right now. There'll be plenty more. But again, basic assignments that any school can use, any industrial account can use, and then they can modify to their liking, or again, create their own. So again, a basic WPS, AWS kind of format. The thing that we've added to it are things down on the bottom here, where you've got your 5 parameters. You've got in green the target values that the instructor or the assignment is looking for, and then your upper and lower limits that provide you with the score on those targets. And again, the upper and lower limits are the things that you can change as an instructor to make it harder or make it easier. A lot of instructors we've talked to say, well, I'd like to use this as a moderate, and I want to make a beginner so I can make sure that my students, when they use this thing, they're not all failing and they just want to push the machine in the corner. I think Bill alluded to that as well. It's a great tool, but if you start failing all students that come up to it, they're not going to want to use it. So you can start with opening up those tolerances to create a beginner and then a moderate and also professional limit. This is just kind of showing the combination here when you're looking at, as a student, after you've picked your assignment, you come to your scoring screen, you have your simulation or your weld mode, depending on, you know, it always defaults to simulation for safety reasons. But this is just a picture of the gun here. This is actually what you'd be holding to see in reference to your setup. You also have some indication here that gives you a way to really drill into that target. Here it's kind of like a bubble leveler. You kind of get an idea of where you need to be. So you know you're in the range here when it turns green, but you don't know exactly where you're at. Here it gives you the exact feedback of where you're at. Here they're holding the work angle here. We want a 45, they're at 29 here, and you can see this is red. So I'm out of something. I don't know what it is unless I move my torch around, but here now I can really drill in before I pull that trigger to understand exactly how that instructor wants me to hold that gun. And then the performance feedback, you saw that on the video. In simulation mode, a student actually can look at this. Of course, as an instructor, you want them to look at the weld, really focus on their technique. But in simulation mode or practice mode, they can actually see this filling in real time. In welding mode, this will go black. It'll actually tell you, hey, warning, there's going to be some welding going on, so don't want students to be looking at the weld. But if you have a secondary screen, a large screen TV, you can actually see that populating in real time. So additional students or you as an instructor can actually be there seeing the visual and help the student. What's nice, Bill alluded to it in regards to kind of team learning environment. When you've got a lot of students sitting around this machine, somebody's welding, it creates this real learning environment to help the student that's actually welding and what they need to work on as they're actually welding. So it's kind of cool to watch. I wonder, so this is a real short video. This is on the actual smart gun, just to kind of give you a better idea of how the smart gun actually works. We're obviously quite proud of it. And there he is, autographs at lunchtime.
The Miller Smart Gun is the most innovative MIG training gun in the industry, helping weld operators of any skill level build their abilities quickly, intuitively, and cost-effectively. Compatible with any Miller power source, the Smart Gun's integrated LEDs are detected by the LiveArc system's cameras, which track the Smart Gun's movements in 3 dimensions and measure adherence to preset torch technique parameters. When a selected parameter is out of range, the gun alerts the user with an attention-getting vibration, instant feedback that can help quickly build good gun positioning habits. An integrated OLED display also helps with proper positioning and guides users through the successful completion of assignments in simulation mode as well as in live arc welding mode. The Miller Smart Gun, an essential part of the live arc welding performance management system and an essential skill builder for any welder.
So there you go, again featuring Mr. Bill Becker. So I just wanted to spend just a couple of minutes in regards to you guys and gals of instructors, and just show you how intuitive it is to operate our system and to configure it, if you will. This is an area where we talk about configurability. We have an area that is called create, or actually assignment management. This is your assignment management, where all of the assignments that are built in the system from Miller, or if you add systems, excuse me, they're all assignments, they're all here. Very easy to take one of our assignments and say, I just want to edit one parameter, or I want to add something into the WPS that wasn't there before. You can edit it, save it, boom, you're ready to go again. Most instructors like the copy, where they can copy the original assignment, make some changes, then change it to something else. If you want to change, like I was talking about, beginner to moderate to professional assignment, you can do that by copying, changing the name and changing the parameters, and boom, you're able to edit it. As well, if you've got 100 assignments in here, you may have repeats, that sort of thing, easy to delete, and use whatever you want to keep in there. This is actually the WPS look. You've got, when you get into a changing or adding a new assignment, you have all of your different areas here on the WPS, from joint design to base metals to filler metals. All of this area here, and anything in white is changeable. So again, very easy to go back in there. It is a touch screen, so if you were to touch this, you want to change it, a keyboard would actually appear, and you would be able to make your changes. This is the area that most instructors will be changing. This is the welding procedure. Here's your target values for those 5 parameters, plus your machine settings here, and here's your upper and lower limits. Again, keypad here. You can also change these. If you click in here, you actually have the 40 here, and you can go up and down here, and it will give you a percentage from that target of which you're actually setting that parameter to. Some nice intuitive ease of use. Also, if you're trying to figure out what the heck we mean by work angle or any of our other parameters, you actually have a help here, and it'll actually explain to you exactly what we're looking for that particular parameter. We also have an area that accumulates the hours of the system's usage. Again, these types of devices, you're going to need to create ROIs in many cases to have administration understand that you are getting some usage here, and it's actually paying for itself. So we've got the simulation mode. In this case, got over 4,500 simulations, which calculate into typically 2 coupons. You get 9,000 coupons that you save with this system in this particular instant. Yeah, as well, you have the hours, so you can calculate gas usage and all that kind of stuff. So just another tool for instructors to use, again, to make sure that everybody within the organization knows that it's being paid for. I threw this together just to kind of say that there's a lot of things going on in motion tracking. This is new to the welding industry. Bill will attest to that. There's a lot of neat things that we're going to be able to do in the future. This is our first system, our first attempt at providing a system that can help people learn how to weld. Is that all it's going to do? I'll just say no. As Bill was saying, there's a lot of things they're working on. There's a lot of things we're working on. So stay tuned basically, because there's a lot of things that, I think both of our organizations are working on. But again, overall, it saves your program money, just with coupon savings. Also, I think from time management, it helps instructors manage their classroom a little bit. Oh, I got the 5-minute thing, so I'm getting really close here. So because of that, I'm gonna jump right to this YouTube. Actually, I just got this email to me this morning. It's a brand new video that we took with an end user that has one of these systems up in Green Bay, which is right behind, or right next to us in the Appleton area. So I'm just gonna play this. This is a satisfied customer, if you will. Hopefully this will work. Woo!
My name is Doug Tennant. I'm a welding instructor at Northeast Wisconsin Technical College. My father was a welding instructor. He started off on the railroad, and then he got into teaching students as well. And he did it ever since I was really young, and I knew that was going to be what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. We have a great relationship with Miller. They're behind us 100%. The LiveArc was basically like the lab aid that every welding instructor wants to have. It's that extra piece of equipment or the tool in your toolbox, that helping hand. When you have 24 to 26 students in a classroom or in a lab setting, you can't be with every student that you want to be with. It's like the welding instructor standing over their shoulder right there saying, you know, get your contact at work distance closer, or tip your torch forward more, or your aim's off, or, you know, it's guiding them right there instantly. Run your trailer speed just a little bit faster, 9 inches per minute. To see them come into the classroom and then really take to the trade and start learning the key essentials that they need to know to build that foundation to be a welder. And then 9 months later, they're walking out the door with a diploma, and they usually have a job right away. And it's a very good feeling knowing that you're changing somebody's life. And then your travel is inconsistent because of the oscillation. And to have the state-of-the-art technology that they do allows the students to really stay in front of the technology that will be entering industry. The feedback's how they learn. You know, they experience it, they assess what they did, and then they make the changes from there. And that's how they get better. They have to do it over and over and over again. The Miller LiveArc works for us because it's an extra hand that we have in the lab that we've always needed.
So there you go, hot off the press. So we're right on time, which is actually pretty good for me. If you have any questions, please see myself or Bill at the booth around lunchtime. We'd love to talk to you about what you saw. If you have any questions, also we have free posters. Miller is starting to get into the poster market. We have a bunch of free posters, so feel free to fill out one of the forms I've got on my desk. We'll send you a bunch of posters, and we also have other things there as well to talk about. So feel free to come back and talk to us. So any questions right away that'll be very easy to answer. Don't give me any hard questions. Easy ones.
How long of weld can you do on that table there?
About a 30-inch, right to the edge of the table actually. Yeah, the camera can see actually outside the edge, so it's the complete length. We've actually tried it, about 30 inches, 33 inches, something in that realm.
What's your machine cost?
The machine cost is right around $40,000 for the system, 40 to 45, depending on who you're buying it from. And so it's not cheap, obviously. The technology is not cheap. Bill alluded to that. The camera's very expensive, but it is a $40,000 package, 40 to 45, I'll say, because we're selling everything through our welding distributor at this time. You can't buy it direct from Miller.
Can the coupon be oriented in any direction on the table, whether it be parallel with the cameras or perpendicular to the cameras to get the 30-inch envelope you talked about?
Yes. Yep, and that's with the clamping system and that calibration tool that we have. You're actually, whatever makes you feel comfortable as a welder, but you also can create different types of applications. Actually, when we're working at JLG, they wanted to create a weld going this way because they have on the line, they actually have a weld where you're actually running in this direction, and we can create that.
Groove welds too?
Groove welds, yes. And multi-pass is actually not in the system today. It will be by November, FabTech. So come to FabTech, you'll be able to see it.
What about pipe welding?
Pipe welding is something we're working on, yes. So there are quite a few applications that we're working on. Right now, it is a GMAW and FluxCore system only. That's what we have in the system. We'll be out of position overhead welding by the end of August and multi-pass by November. And then lots of other things. He's trying to shut me down,
Yeah,
so.
we're done. Okay. Good job, Steve. Hey, good, Steve again.